everybody, welcome to my channel, Krista So Crafty. Today I'm going to show you how to make these little burlap ribbon flowerettes, I guess you want to call them. They're just little embellishments. Now you can use these on so many different things. I did a tutorial on the jute covered wine bottle. You could use these as embellishments on there. I will link the video for the jute covered wine bottle down below. So I will show you how to make these. Stay tuned and I will give you the supply list and hopefully you craft along with me. If you make some, I would love to see these and see what you use them on. You could use them as barrettes, I suppose. I don't know. Share them over on my Facebook page, Krista So Crafty. Thank you and happy crafting. Okay, so here's a list of supplies you're going to need to make the burlap ribbon flowers. You're going to need some burlap ribbon. Now I just picked this up at the dollar store, so obviously it's a fairly good price. You could probably get it at Michael's or Hobby Lobby depending on wherever you're located. You'll need some sort of a measuring tape, some decorations to put onto your flower, some scissors, and my husband bought me these. I think he was tired of me burning my fingers all the time. So these are some finger protectors, and I'm guessing that he probably picked them up at Michael's. So check there, it comes in a pack of 3. They definitely help. They're 100% silicone and they definitely protect your fingers. So there's that. Now the other thing that I have used in the past, if you're interested, if you can't find the finger protectors, is I went and purchased a silicone spatula just from the dollar store, and it's great because you can use it to push your items into into the hot glue and not burn your fingers, and the hot glue just peels right off of here. It's so easy, so that's an option as well. So basically, so grab your ribbon, your decorations, and come and craft with me. Okay, so the first thing we need to do is take our burlap ribbon and cut off about a 6 or a 7 inch piece. So when you buy this, when I bought this from the dollar store, it's quite loosely woven. I do know that you can buy burlap ribbon that is a tighter weave. This works as well, whatever you have. This is what I have on hand, so this is what I'm going to use. So like I said, I cut myself a approximately 6 to 7 inch piece of burlap ribbon. So I have a silicone mat that I've laid down, and I've just kind of used some Scotch tape and I taped it down onto my work surface here so that when I go to fold this over and glue it, I don't get glue all over my table. Okay, so first thing we need to do is we need to take the center section out, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave 3 strands of the burlap on each side. So I'm just going to start in the middle. You kind of put your fingers on either side, grab one of the strands, and if you put your fingers over top of the ones that are going up vertically, then as you're pulling these out, all of those strands don't come out as well. So just put your finger, grab a hold of the string, and just pull it out. And you're going to do that to all of these ones, and you're going to leave 3 strands on each side. Okay, so just grab and pull. You want to make sure you leave as many of these ones going up and down as you can, so that you have lots of petals for your flowers. Okay, so I'm just going to continue pulling these out. One more on this side. And then pull these ones out on this side. I usually only pull 1 strand at a time, just because it's if you start pulling more than 1 at a time, it tends to distort the ribbon, and then your strands going up and down end up being not an even weave. So I do 1 at a time. All right, so here's my last one All right, there we go. So that's what I'm going to be working with. Now, if you can figure out a craft for these, I suppose, but I just throw them in the garbage. All right, so here we have our, what will be our flower. So this is our ribbon. We have the 3 strands on either side. Now, if you turn it over so that it's curling up, so it's the way it was wrapped on the roll, I find it's a little easier that way. And then all we're going to do is we're going to fold this over like this, and we're going to run a bead of glue down one side and stick it down the opposite side. I'm going to put some glue on this side, and you don't need a whole bunch, just enough that it catches these ones. And I'm going to put my little finger on so I don't burn myself and just push it down. Now, the nice thing about using this silicone mat is I can lift this right up, and if there's any glue on here, again, it just rubs right off nice and easy, so you're not getting your work surface all covered in glue, because you will get glue everywhere. All right, so let's just continue gluing this down. Okay, and roll this over and push it down into the fibers, to the strands, so that they all get stuck together. And as you can see, they're kind of going on a bit of a slant, and that's great, that's okay. It's gonna work. Any way you get this to go glued together is great. So I'm just gonna continue with this. And my only problem is I can't seem to run my glue gun with this little thing on my finger, so I have to take it off every time, but that's okay. Okay, just lift that off of there, make sure it's not sticking down. And my last little strip here. And we'll get this laid over here. Now, the thing with using the hot glue is that it catches all the little strands. Just tapping that down, making sure everything is caught. And as you can see, I did end up losing a couple of the end ones, but that's okay. Oops, stuck to my finger. All right, so now just gonna let this cool a little bit. You don't want to wait until it's solid, because then you're gonna have a hard time bending it around. Because all we're gonna do now is take and we're gonna fold this around into a semicircle or a circle. Okay, so now this part here is a little bit stiff, so I'm just gonna work it a little bit. Work it around, and you can make as big of flowers as you want or as small. Of course, if you want smaller, you might have to cut your ribbon down a little bit, but so I'm just going to wrap it around, kind of get it like this, and I think right about there will be good. So I'm going to cut this extra off, and I can use that to make another flower. All right, so when I cut it, I have these little strands, so I'm just going to take those and kind of tug on them and get them out of there, because I want the loops, not the strands. So pull that out of there. And now all you need to do is just loop it around so that your edges match up and you get kind of a round shape. And then we're just going to put some glue on here. Put my finger back on again. Move this around until we get a circle shape. And it is kind of tricky, but you just keep working with it and you will be able to get it to work. Okay, and then scoot that around. Okay, so work those fibers, get them all worked around here. I'm just pulling this round in the back and getting it in the glue. And just like I said, just kind of keep playing with it, get it worked around there. And then you can take some of these petals and you can pull them around and get your petals all nice and lined up. And then what I like to do, all these little bits that are loose, if you leave them, they will, or they could, pop up. So what I do is I just take some hot glue. I need another stick, sorry about that. Just take a little bit of glue and put it around in various places around there. And with your finger or your spatula, just push those extra strands into the glue to make sure that everything is caught up in there and nothing is going to pull out. Okay, so then you can just, again, move your petals around, make it look pretty. There. So there's my flower. It is not perfect by any means, but you know what? Flowers in nature are not perfect either. So there's my flower. So now the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to figure out what I want to put on there. Now there's so many options. This one I made before, I just put a flower on it and I think it looks quite pretty like that. Another one I made has these little half pearls, and they're just from the dollar store. You get them in a big sleeve and they have little sticky dots on the back. I don't trust those, so I do glue these down. So you can do that. But this time I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to use a little wooden flower, again, that I got at the dollar store, and then just a little tiny bead. It's for jewelry, I guess. There's little holes on either side. But I'm just going to glue that into the center of this and then put this little thing in the middle of that. So that's what I'm going to do now. All right, so I just want to make sure that this is on here good. All right, move that over the side for a second. So I'm just going to take and put a little bit of glue. You don't need a whole bunch. Just a little bit of glue, just on the very kind of inside edge of the flower. And then just set that in the center wherever you want it and push it down. Make sure it's stuck on there. You can decorate these however you want, for sure. I mean, you could even do like a double petals where you have 2 circles and then glue 1 circle to another circle, you know, something like that, so you get a real thick one. Okay, and then there's this little guy. So I'm just going to put a little dab of glue in the center of the flower. And put him in here. And then I'm just going to center him. Make sure it's all centered. Yeah, just like that. So there is a really quick and easy little craft for you to do. And the nice thing about these is you can use them as decorations on jars, on wreaths, on whatever. If you know, some of these video that I have coming up in the future is a bunny, that's a cardboard bunny with yarn, and I'm going to use some of these to add a decoration around the neck and stuff. So keep your eyes open for that in the future. But for now, this is what I've done. I hope you've enjoyed this tutorial, and I hope you give it a try. If you happen to make some of these, I would love to see them. You feel free to share them on my Facebook page, Krista's So Crafty. In the meantime, have a wonderful day and keep on crafting.